Merhabalar, ben Sercan. As you already know, I have been showing the grammatical and expressional similarities between Turkish and Japanese by using sentences in comparison without going into grammatical details. But in this video series, I'm going to focus on one of those similarities in detail in every video. I will explain the topic with example sentences as usual. However, this time I'm going to give grammatical details as well. Our main focus in these videos will again be the grammatical similarities between those two languages and how they are formed in a sentence. Today's topic is experience, whether something has been done in the past or not. The first sentence that we will go through is this one. 日本に行ったことがありますか? 日本に行ったことがありますか? In Turkish, Japonya'ya gitmişliğiniz var mı? Japonya'ya gitmişliğiniz var mı? And in English, have you ever been to Japan? Have you ever been to Japan? By the way, have you ever been to Japan is not the literal translation of these sentences, but the way how this question is asked in English. We're gonna see the details in a short while. Now, let's take a closer look at this Japanese sentence. 日本に行ったことがありますか? The infinitive form of the verb to go in Japanese is 行く, 行く. This is called the dictionary form of the verb as well in Japanese. And the infinitive form of the verb to go in Turkish is gitmek, gitmek. And the informal conjugation of this verb in Japanese in present and future tense is again iku, iku. When we say informal conjugation in Japanese, we mean the way of speech. For example, while we're speaking to our friends. When we speak with the people who are not our friends, for example, our boss at work, then we use the formal way of speech, and in this case, the conjugation of the verb is different. So, if we want to conjugate the same verb formally, then we say ikimasu, ikimasu. Here, I would like to point out that in Japanese, all personal pronouns use the same conjugation. That is to say, the formal conjugation of the verb to go is ikimasu for every personal pronoun. But in Turkish, we use personal pronoun suffix at the end of the verb. So it's basically different for every personal pronoun. Nihon means Japan in Japanese, and it means Japonya in Turkish. And ni particle is one of the particles in Japanese that indicates a direction. But we should also keep in mind that this particle has other functions as well. In this case, according to this sentence structure, the meaning of Nihon ni is to Japan. And in Turkish, this means Japonya'ya, Japonya'ya. Well, as a side note, I would say in Turkish, to indicate a direction, you need to add a or e suffix to the word. And according to the vowel harmony, you need to use a for the word Japonya. However, to make the pronunciation easier, in this kind of situations, you need a buffer letter in between. And in this case, this letter is ye, so it becomes Japonya'ya. I have covered the vowel harmony in detail in my Turkish language channel. If you would like to see the details, I'm going to put the link in the description below. Now, let's continue. If we want to say, I go to Japan, or I will go to Japan, we say, Nihon ni iku, Nihon ni iku in Japanese. And if you want to say this formally, then we say 日本に行きます 日本に行きます And in Turkish, we say Japonya'ya giderim for simple present tense and Japonya'ya gideceğim for future tense. Even though the conjugation of the verbs does not change depending on the personal pronouns in Japanese, when we say 日本に行く or 日本に行きます without indicating a subject or personal pronoun, it is understood as the first singular personal pronoun, that is to say, I. So far, we have learned that the informal conjugation of the verb to go is 行く and the formal conjugation of the same verb is 行きます. Now, the informal past tense conjugation of the same verb is 行った 行った and if you want to conjugate it formally, then we say 行きました行きました When we want to say I went to Japan, we say 日本に行った informally or we say 日本に行きました formally. And in Turkish, we say Japonya'ya gittim. Japonya'ya gittim. Koto, which you see in the Japanese sentence, means event, thing. But it is also used to nominalize the verbs. Therefore, 行くこと is the nominalized form of the verb to go, and 行ったこと is the nominalized form of the verb to go, but in the past tense. 日本に行ったこと is a structure that expresses the nominalized form of to have gone to Japan. That is to say, going to Japan, but in the past. And in Turkish, we say Japonya'ya gitmişlik for the same structure. Japonya'ya gitmişlik. Ga arimasu, which you see in the Japanese sentence, is a structure that shows something exists. The infinitive form of the conjugated verb is aru, and it expresses the existence of non-living things in Japanese. Ga is one of the topic particles in Japanese. In Turkish, we do not use such particle. Hon means book, and it means kitap in Turkish. When we say hon ga aru, it means there is a book. And in Turkish, we say kitap var or bir kitap var. In Japanese, hon ga aru means something else as well. And this is I have a book. And in Turkish, for that, we say kitabım var. Kitabım var. Just an additional information, this represents that the book belongs to me. So it is the possession suffix for the first singular person. Now you might be asking why P at the end of the word kitap changed to B while saying kitabım. It is because of the consonant mutation rule in Turkish. I have already covered that as well in my Turkish language channel. If you would like to see in detail, I'm going to put the link in the description below as well. Now let's go on. If we want to say Sercan has a book in Japanese, then we say Serujan wa hon ga aru. Serujan wa hon ga aru. And in Turkish, we say Sercan'ın bir kitabı var. Sercan'ın bir kitabı var. Let me point out here once again. Va and ga particles are topic particles in Japanese. We do not use such particles in Turkish. We do not indicate the topic by using particles. we do this differently in Turkish. That I will cover in another video. Now let's go on. Megane means glasses in English and it means gözlük in Turkish. Megane ga aru means there are glasses and it means gözlük var in Turkish. Megane ga aru also means I have glasses and in Turkish benim gözlüğüm var. Please remember that all suffixes in Turkish are subject to vowel harmony and possibly consonant mutation rules. As I have mentioned before, if you would like to see the details about these concepts, you can check the videos in my Turkish language channel as well. When we want to say Sercan has glasses in Japanese, we say Serucan wa megane ga aru. And we say in Turkish, Sercan'ın gözlüğü var. Sercan'ın gözlüğü var. If we want to conjugate aru formally, we say arimasu, arimasu, such as hon ga arimasu or megane ga arimasu. When we want to say I do not have glasses formally, then we negate the verb aru as arimasen, such as megane ga arimasen, megane ga arimasen. Now, let's take a look at the negation of the dictionary form of the verb aru. It is nai, nai. Jikan means time in English and it means zaman in Turkish. When we want to say there is no time or I don't have time, we say jikan ga nai, jikan ga nai. And in Turkish we say zaman yok or zamanım yok. And if you want to say this formally, we say jikan ga arimasen, jikan ga arimasen. Ka, which you see at the end of the Japanese sentence, is used to indicate a question. In this particular example, in the Turkish sentence, to indicate a question, we add mı to the end of the sentence. So, in this case, when we want to say, I have been to Japan, so I have this experience, and we say, Nihon ni itta koto ga aru. Nihon ni itta koto ga aru. And if we want to say this formally, we say, Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu. Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu. And if we don't have such an experience, then we say, Nihon ni itta koto ga nai. Nihon ni itta koto ga nai. And if you want to say this formally, we say, Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasen. Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasen. And if we want to ask it as a question, and we say, Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu ka? Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu ka? Since this Japanese sentence is in the formal form, I translate this sentence into Turkish as Japonya'ya gitmişliğiniz var mı? Japonya'ya gitmişliğiniz var mı? And when we ask Nihon ni itta koto ga aru? Nihon ni itta koto ga aru? Casually, then our Turkish translation becomes Japonya'ya gitmişliğin var mı? Japonya'ya gitmişliğin var mı? In Turkish, this is a casual question to the second singular personal pronoun. Before we continue with another example, I would like to mention what Nihon ni itta koto ga arimasu ka and Japonya'ya gitmişliğiniz var mı mean in English, literally. So these questions are asking if the action of going to Japan actually exists. So if I try my best, the literal translation could be, does your going to Japan exist? Now, let's see another example. Probably you have already heard about the Galata Tower in Istanbul. We say Galata in Japanese, and in Turkish we say Galata Kulesi. Miru in Japanese means to see, and it is past tense conjugation in the normal form is mita, and to see means görmek in Turkish. Görmek. Galata Tower mita means I have seen Galata Tower, and in Turkish we say Galata Kulesi'ni gördüm. Galata Kulesi'ni gördüm. If we have never seen Galata Tower, so we do not have this experience, then we say Galata Tower wo mita koto ga nai. Galata Tower wo mita koto ga nai. And in Turkish we say Galata Kulesi'ni görmüşlüğüm yok. Galata Kulesi'ni görmüşlüğüm yok. If you want to say formally in Japanese, Galata Tower wo mita koto ga arimasen. Galata Tower wo mita koto ga arimasen. Before ending this video, I would like to mention that in daily conversations, we say Japonya'ya hiç gittiniz mi? Japonya'ya hiç gittiniz mi? Whose meaning is have you ever gone to Japan? Instead of Japonya'ya gitmişliğiniz var mı? And we say Galata Kulesi'ni hiç görmedim. Galata Kulesi'ni hiç görmedim. Whose meaning is I have never seen Galata Tower instead of Galata Kulesi'ni görmüşlüğüm yok. Today I have tried to show how Turkish and Japanese express the experience and how the sentences are formed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you in the next videos.